Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Shelly Speaks Truth. I want to thank everyone for being here this evening. If you are new to my show, I just want to say welcome, and I hope that you get something insightful from the discussions that we have here. Tonight, as you can see, we will be doing part two of the high value Black men discussion. And I do have a very special guest here with me, Ayana. But before I introduce Ayana to everyone, I want to go ahead and thank our sponsor, buhosting.com. Again, that is buhosting.com. And you can check out BU Hosting for all of your website needs. That's website hosting to get your .com. And right now, the 11/11 special is still going on. Again, I don't know how long that will be for, so you want to go ahead and take advantage of that right now. Go ahead and visit buhosting.com. Also, I would love to give a shout out to urbancountryfilms.com, which is the host of my show, Shelly Speaks Truth, as well as a number of other shows here on the network. Every day, Monday through Friday, we have the Urban Country Morning Show, and that is from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. That is our version of news, infotainment, and other shenanigans. That is the Urban Country Morning Show. On Wednesday nights, we have Michael with Solutions, and that is at 9 p.m. Thursdays, we have Let's Talk Freedom, the four free thinking guys who you never know what they're going to be talking about over there. And of course, on Sunday, Shelly Speaks Truth. And directly following my show at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Bree and Nye with Cypher Sundays. So as you can see, we have a whole lineup of shows for you here on the network. And also, if you are a content creator and you're looking to bring a show to the Urban Country Films Network, please go ahead and contact urbancountryfilms.com. Again, that is urbancountryfilms.com. Go ahead and send an email to Andre Johnson at Urban Country Films if you are a content creator and you would like to get a show up and running on the network. Now, the reason I wanted to have the part two of this discussion tonight about high value men is because the more and more I look into this high value men thing, unfortunately, I see more and more how it is detrimental to our community. And when I say our community, I'm speaking directly to Black people. The more and more I begin to peel back the layers on this high value man concept, the more I begin to see that I can't really find anything that is beneficial to relations between Black men and Black women. A lot of these things, especially as it relates to the high value man, a lot of this stuff is very materialistic and ego driven. And I personally feel like that doesn't, it's not a way for us to mend our differences as Black men and Black women within our community. And unfortunately, especially in this day and age, we're starting to see more and more where our problems are being highlighted on the mainstream level. When you see people like Kevin Samuels, whose following is blowing up. I mean, I was on Kevin Samuels' YouTube channel maybe about 2, 3 weeks ago, and his following has grown by about 300,000 subscribers within that 2 week span. So, so people who have these messages that I personally feel are not conducive to us as Black men and Black women, they're getting a lot of attention. And it's not that I'm jealous of the attention they're getting or anything like that. It's I see where this is headed. I see that this is it's going to have detrimental effects to our community in the long run, because we're already in a situation where we have so many things that we need to fix within the Black community. And honestly, I feel like this stuff is starting to really become a distraction. But I did want to get into a couple of the things that I see within this high value man concept that shows me that these men don't really have an interest in our community. But before I dive into some of those things, I do want to go ahead and introduce my guests on the panel. Ayana, can you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone? And then I have a question that I would like to ask you.
Okay. Yes, I'm Ayana. I am just living life day to day, having those experiences. I mean, that's pretty much it. Nothing at this point major for me. I'm just a regular girl in a regular world.
The reason I wanted to bring you up on the panel is because we've had discussions about this whole high value man thing, and you were on the first discussion that we had. And we
Mhm.
tended to agree on some things when it comes to this whole high value man concept. And one
Mhm.
of the things that we did agree on is that for these black men with this whole high value man thing, a lot of them are following in the footsteps of white men when it comes to this. And that's one of the main reasons I feel that this doesn't really have a place within black society. But unfortunately, within our community, sometimes we tend to navigate towards negativity a lot faster than we
Mhm.
navigate toward positivity. So,
Mhm.
it's not really a shock that this thing has blown out of proportion and is causing a lot of arguments between black men and black women. But I guess what I wanted to ask you is there anything about the high value man concept that you see that could be useful to black men?
Um, I have to be honest, Shelley, I did not do more research because number one, I didn't feel I need to. And I did not see anything that would be of value. It's unfortunate. But the one article I did read was one I sent to you. Um, so a young lady wrote it. It was called Whispers of a Womanist, and it pointed to where Kevin Samuels' um, idea possibly originated from.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first show, I think I said, this is nothing new, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I stated that because of what I had read in that article and what I saw. But I went a little bit deeper. I did not research more on Kevin Samuels, but I read a little bit deeper into this, what's called the Moynihan Report, because the article talked about how Kevin Samuels was accursed and how Kevin Samuels was reiterating a concept that a white man had stated in this article from the 1960s. Okay. And that's what made me wanted to dive deeper into, well, what was in that article. So I didn't even get to finish the article because, to be honest, I started reading it earlier today. I wanted to start earlier, but I started earlier today. And a lot of the things I read, it said, there's a section because it was built out into sections. And the article was basically about the Negro family in America. That was part of the title, not the entire title. I like to get my sources and my words right when I talk about these things. But it was 1965, and the article was called, here it is, The Moynihan Report, The Negro Family, The Case for National Action. So this report basically talked about multiple different sections of what, from this person's perspective, the Negro family, and this is how they worded, because remember, it's the 60s. So it's called Chapter 1, The Negro American Revolution. So it's 5 chapters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in each one of those chapters, this person supposedly dives deep into why they feel like Black people will forever be at a disadvantage in this country. And it really started to hone in. There's one section called Matriarchy, okay, where they started to discuss the high rates of single Black women in the urban communities with children and no husband. And this kind of tied back into everything that you and I had talked the last 2 shows that we talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we talked about gender roles in the household. We talked about this Kevin Samuels guy. And it started to make me feel like, well, still, it brought me back to this is European ideas, European idealistic things that we're kind of trying to build our community on. So no, to answer your question, I still have not found anything positive in what Kevin Samuels have said. I've only found more things to prove that what he's doing is detrimental to us as a people, the men and the women. So no, nothing. The videos that I did see, I could not see from the other young man on this panel's perspective, where he said it was as if Kevin Samuels was letting women know, I guess, that they need to choose a certain type of man because these type of men are not willing to choose you. It was a very shallow surface reason to be with someone. And I felt like it took out a lot of the reasons why we even go into relationships in the first place. And it leaves us open to still have these high divorce rates based on how Kevin Samuels wants us to choose a mate. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
no, I'm still not finding anything positive in what Kevin Samuels is poisoning, and I feel like I can say that, our community with. And you just shocked me when you said I didn't even pay attention to how many people, but 300,000.
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, like I was saying, in our community, well, maybe it's a human thing. I won't put that stigma on our community. But what I will say, oh, Michael, you just joined us?
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, what's going on, Michael?
ain't much. I'm trying to get my camera set up while I'm talking. So I hey, first of all, thank you guys for inviting me.
Hmm.
This was last minute, so I'm setting up the video, but I'm here. I'm seeing you guys. You just can't see me, so I'll chime in until I can get this video to work.
Okay, cool, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Just to piggyback a little bit off of what you were saying, Ayana, I agree with you almost 100% on what you're saying. The one thing that I will say is within this whole high value black man thing, I guess the only thing, and it's a very surface level thing, that I would say would be beneficial to black men with this is just caring about your appearance, making sure that you're groomed and things like that. But that's not something that I think a grown man should have to have someone to tell him.
Correct.
But, just in case there are any men out there that need Kevin Samuels to tell them to make sure they smell good and make sure that they groom themselves and things like that. I mean, I guess if you needed someone to tell you that, that would be beneficial to you. Another thing that I think on the surface that is kind of beneficial within this high value man thing is building connections with other men, with other black men. I think that that's something that our men could stand to benefit from, building connections with other black men. But that's pretty much where it ends, because even within him encouraging black men to build connections with other black men, I don't agree with the way he's telling black men to connect. He's telling them to connect to fit into corporate America.
Right.
And build connections on that level. And it's kind of like, if you pay attention to the numbers of who runs corporate America, it's largely not black people. It's white men and white women who are in the positions of power within corporate America. Even when you think about the Fortune 500 companies, there's only 1% of the African American community that has top positions in Fortune 500 companies.
Correct.
And then it's something like 93% of that is majority of it is white men, and then like 6% of that is white women.
Yep.
So there's not much room for black men to grow in corporate America, in my opinion, because when you think about competition, how much of those positions are going to be given to black men? White men are not just going to hand over those positions to black men.
No.
But you see, here's the thing, Shelley, and this is something that you know. So you say corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really matter because if a black man get accepted into corporate America, what is his purpose? Personally, he's gonna acquire personal wealth. But if the corporate industry that he's in is a slave machine, that is not going to change. He's just going to be a part of the facilitators. So the real issue that we got to look at is what are the causes to have a black man encouraging other black men to one segregate themselves from other black men by creating this elite high value society for men to aspire to like be like them. So it's still gonna be mass because I heard, so I never look at it, but I heard it's like he's talking about a 1% uh, group of people. So the real issue is what are we not doing? Rather than worrying about like this dude over here who's misleading because he himself is misleading or misled. So what is the reason for him to even have that kind of mentality? You know what I'm saying? Those are my concerns.
Well, the first part of it is that um, I personally feel like I was saying in the beginning, a lot of these men that follow this ideology that Kevin Samuels is pushing out there, a lot of them aspire to be like white men. And when you see the conversations that they have, I don't know, I'm pretty sure you don't pay attention to it, Michael, but I'm within these social media groups. I follow a lot of content creators on YouTube and stuff like that. And when I'm going into these comment sections, I'm seeing a lot of these men have the same mindset. Like, they're not talking about black men building anything that will specifically help black people. They're talking about how to climb up the ladder in a system that wasn't built for them. So that's the first part of it, is that their minds are, personally in my opinion, their minds are just not in the right place to begin with. But the reason why I use my platform to speak out against it is because, like I said, within a short span of time, this man has gained 300,000 followers. We're talking about we're talking about within like 2 to 3 weeks.
So one question, Shelley, how much of that following do you think you attributed to? You see what I'm saying? Because giving something like that light also, because some people like I've never heard of this guy until your show, but I refuse to give him any more YouTube algorithm views or visits. You understand? I get my research through you guys about this guy, and I can form an opinion. And I just want to clarify something when you say about the reason I'm not on social media and all of that kind of thing, because there was a time when I was a subscriber to ultra right, KKK, Bible Belt Christian, everybody. I subscribe, I dove deep, and I just sit like a fly in the wall and listen and see what I needed to see. So it's not that you know, I'm not. I just been down there and I kind of know what all of these things. Because again, I'm a curious mind. So in Facebook, YouTube, all of these things come out. I'm in there. I have a YouTube page from 2011, even though I got one subscriber. But you know, what I'm saying I'm subscribed to thousands of channels. You know, so I'm saying that's why the algorithm is confused as fuck what to target me with. Like when it comes, like I don't know, you want to watch this? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So that on that part, but like you said, it is crazy how hungry we are for something Because if a dude can be giving you a gun, because literally that's what you're doing when you're aspiring, because you'd have to be a blind, deaf person to not see that any kind of involvement with us into their system never work out good for us. So it is a level of insanity, and I would even go and say it's cult-like. Maybe because nobody is telling you to drink some Kool-Aid or whatever, but there is a need for something. The fact that this dude can get how many thousand people in such a short period of time, kind of telling people, like, it's kind of condescending if you ask me.
Well, I mean, I agree with you on that, but at the same time, we have to understand that within our community, I feel like we, unfortunately, it's something that we can't ignore. Because as a person that, I want to do my part to be able to aspire our community to come together, the men and the women. If we have people that are here that I personally feel like are here to spew ideology that is not going to help us, to a certain degree, I'm gonna have to give them some type of attention, because I have to combat their message. I
Yeah,
can't.
we have to. That's what I'm saying. Like, what is the, like, you on the other hand, like, you are a researcher, so you doing your research and you can't be talking about something. But unfortunately, a side a side effect, you understand, but hopefully the people who get their information about this guy from you is not running over there to be a part of that shit. He's doing the same as to do research. You see what I'm saying? And that's the hope that I have with us diving into some things that, you're like, well, we're here and we're sad that we have to talk about this shit, but hopefully at the end of it, you know what I'm saying, we save
We
at
get
least.
a solution. That's,
Oh,
and that's
and that,
what, and I'm interrupting. I apologize. I am interrupting you. But as you and Shelly are talking, that's what I'm thinking. As Shelly is talking about combating this, and and in my mind, my thoughts are, how do we go from talking about who this man is? Because I feel like that, as you said, Michael, is possibly, that is giving him a platform to open up, to more people. But what is our solution to combating something like this? What in turn is it that we can do within ourselves, or for ourselves, or for our people, to say, hey, this is not the way to go. This is not the shallow way that someone is telling you to choose a mate. This is not how it should be.
Right.
What are the next steps? Because I watched from Thursday night to Friday, after we did Let's Talk Freedom on Thursday, and the conversation that went on in there, I'm on my mind, what's still lingering on my mind is multiple statements from John Henry Clark. And I don't know if everyone is familiar with John Henry Clark. Not everyone is as in the closet. I shouldn't say in the closet. Not everyone is in the dark, as me. But I do want to say that John Henry Clark is someone I have been listening to more within the last year or 2 years. And a lot of things that he says makes so much sense. As he talks about African people, he talks about African people outside, before slavery, what we were like, what type of people we were, where Europeans learned civilization from, all of those things. And I feel like, going back to that, coming into the now, how do we combat people like Kevin Samuels with, what do we put together? How creative can we get so that we can put something in place to say, hey, this isn't the way to go? You know what I mean?
Right. Before I actually respond to that, I want to get into the comments really quickly.
Okay.
Driscoll says, he says that I'll agree high value men label is a bit pretentious, but on the matter of men needing to be taught to smell good and stay grown, I would state the fact that most Black men had no father in the home, so most of their ideas or understanding of success or parents came from rap videos. So it could be valuable in that sense, but he says he sees both sides. I mean, I guess I could agree with that a little bit, but when we
I don't. Shirley, I'm sorry. When did rap videos start?
I want to
When
say
did-
maybe like the early 1980s, maybe.
Not even. Do you remember videos from the 80s?
I do.
And how many did we actually get a chance to look at and see? I mean, I don't agree with that. Black men learn their grooming from rap videos. And is he saying that we learned how Black men learn how to dress from rap videos?
I think that he's saying that the young men who didn't have a father in the home, maybe that's all they had to look to as far as what a man is. But I don't know if that is 100% accurate, but I do understand what he meant by the influence that our children can get from TV and things like that. So I understand that part of it, but I just don't know. I just feel like, for
can I
me
say
personally,
something?
I just feel like that doesn't tell the whole story.
No.
Yes, one
Can I say
second.
something?
Go ahead, Michael.
Because when it went,
You're
I'm
kind of
sorry.
breaking up just a little bit.
Oh, I'm so far away. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing of like, I have this issue when it comes to talking about children, because I'm an orphan.
Hmm.
And when somebody gonna make the excuse and say that, oh, it's because this was missing and that was missing, and then it's I grew up without parents. I have full control of what decision I made for myself at the age of 14. Prior to that, it was kind of who catch me, can discipline me. I know at an early age what wrong and right is. I know at an early age what responsibility was. And at the end of the day, I think I have more right than anybody who grew up with one parent, two parents, or any number of parents, because I was one of them kids who had nobody. And for me to look at my life and what I have accomplished, I haven't accomplished like any kind of riches or anything like that, but I'm living comfortable within my means and I'm okay. And I look at where I come from. I came to this country with a quarter, and literally a quarter. After I made that call, hey, I'm at the airport. I'm like, so I say that to say this. For somebody to say they blame rap music, they blame this, they blame that, they blame all of those things are excuses. At the end of the day, we are all responsible for ourselves. But there is a thing of influence. And what it is, we as adults, we use relationships and we use all kind of excuse, jobs, everything. And at the end of it all, we forget our kids. If our kid is too rambunctious in school, Ritalin, remember that craze? You have a disadvantage at home, throw the child into daycare. So our daughter one time come home and we're like, who's the president of the United States? Barack Obama. Who the fuck is that? Some Spanish guy. We're not Spanish. So we have to understand that the family unit was broken down. That's a fact. Some things happen as a result of that. And whether we want to believe it or not, what we did to them children then, because the stat, and until I walk around and go knock on every door and see if there's a father in the home. I'm not going to take anybody's statistic and say, because that's what they do. I was told anything black ain't good. So I'm not going to take their statistics. So we have to take responsibility, and we have to look at the children. And before we make any decisions as adults, out of anger, spite, or whatever, if we have children, we look at how it's going to affect them before we make any decision. Now I think I went on a rant, but
No, it's
talk about
okay. I'm gonna Driscoll asked all of us a question. He said, do we have careers that are within the system that we're speaking about? So I guess he's asking if we have a job within the European structured system. I don't anymore, because I want to start leaning more toward building for our community. And I feel like the only way that we're going to be able to do that is start looking for ways that we can own things. So definitely building a system for ourselves is the path that I'm starting to go down. Jasmine's, does anybody else want to respond to that?
I was going to respond to that, and I was going to say, yes, I do, but I am on the path that you're on. I do want building for myself, which I've already begun with a real estate career. Okay. So it is something that I will get out of, because I too have the desires to work as a collective, high morality people that we are.
I had one job when I came to the United States. When I got my work permit, I got a job. I realized that I went there and I know people from back home that are there who came up before me. And when I saw one of my friends who was a warehouse manager train some white dude to be up front, and then they started talking to me a certain way, I told the supervisor, I say, fuck you. And I never worked for anybody ever after that. I work with people, but I've worked as a private contractor.
Okay, so Jasmine in the comment section, she says that, and she's referring to Kevin Samuels, I'm assuming. She says he's gaining his followers because many people agree with his sentiments, but no one talks about it. Also, women watch him to learn how to find a husband to help them attract a man on their level. I
keep hearing that, and I heard that from what was his name? I keep hearing that. That he is helping women attract men on their level, and I have a problem with the on their level. I mean, you guys can chime in.
What determines your level? And here's the thing, and this is why people are always going to get screwed. Because if on your level has a dollar value, you ain't shit. That's all I'm saying. If you gauge what somebody's worth is to be your mate or your partner, your significant other, I'm not saying you should go out there and pick up a bum. But if that's number one, you're going to see the shiny suit until you realize that your new man or woman or whomever have a dungeon downstairs where they have pedophilia kind of shit. That's how you get involved in stuff, because you looking for that, the shiny. So,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Michael, but when you say, except for if someone is a bum, when you say except for if someone is a bum, like that's a whole different mentality.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I wouldn't want anybody who has no self-esteem, no aspiration for anything, just want to be a burden on society, that's a bum.
Right.
A person who can do better but choose to
not to
do bad and accept somebody to come down there and waller in mud with them, that's a bum.
that's what I like, because when we talk about these things, it's good to get out like what we mean, because bum to you and bum to someone else could mean two totally different things.
I want to jump in here 1 second to kind of backtrack a little bit. When Jasmine said that women are they're watching him to find like to get steps and tips, I guess, on how to attract a man on their level and to how to find a husband. The reason I chuckled a little bit with that was because when I listened to Kevin Samuels, and this is not about Kevin Samuels as a person, because for all I know, he could be doing this just to make money. But my thing with him is his message. When I hear a lot of the women call into his show, he's talking down to them. And some people may say, well, they need to hear that shock factor to make them realize. And it's like, no, because the majority of the stuff that he's saying to them is prepping them and grooming them on how to be a good woman for a man. But when he is talking to the men about what it is to be a high value man, a lot of that stuff doesn't have anything to do with their character. It's about how much money you make and what you can give this woman monetarily. He doesn't talk to them about making sure that they can help that woman with her peace, her mental well-being. It's never anything like that. It's always, you're going to be paying the bills. You're going to be the man of the house. She needs to listen to you. So I don't understand like why any woman would call him to get tips on that if it's nothing in it for her. Like, what is she going to be gaining when she goes out there and gets that husband? Because your message to the men is very shallow and it's not character driven at all, in my opinion. But go ahead.
That was my that's a question that I have in that vicinity. Once Kevin has spoken to these women, and once, okay, because I heard them say women who have 3 children, low income, I keep hearing that, who want a man that makes a 6-figure income, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how, once he has spoken to these women, I wonder what their state of mind is. What like, I know how I feel when someone tells you, hey, you're just not good enough. You just suck. What does that, is he trying to, does he feel like what he's saying is going to drive people to do better? Or does he feel like it's going to drive them to say, oh no, I just might as well accept what, you understand what I'm saying? Like, what is their state of mind once he's done with them? Where are they, like you said, where are they mentally?
Well, I honestly feel that mentally and self-esteem wise, they're already not in a good place because they're calling this man, who I personally don't even feel is a high value man, to ask him for advice. They're looking
like that could be.
What was that?
So maybe that's, Kelly, maybe we redefine.
How somebody like to be a high value man?
Well, for me personally, if you don't have good character, that devalues you to me. I think that these men should be aspiring to show men how to, first of all, carry themselves in a way that is admirable to our community. Money isn't going to be the only thing that it takes to make you a leader in our community. And I think that's where he misses the mark, because it does come across, excuse my language, but it comes across as kind of asshole-ish, because he kind of teaches them that if you are in this status financially, then you have that you have options, you have a pool of women, so you have the right to be like this and that, because you can afford to be this person. And I just think it sends the wrong message, because when you think about what a relationship is, relationships have to be a situation to where both people feel like they're getting something out of the relationship. To me, he just teaches women how to feed men's egos and kind of put their well-being to the side, because in return for that, they're going to get this lifestyle.
Right. Thank you.
And to me, that's not a fair trade-off. Like, I don't care how much money you have. Eventually, I'm going to get tired of feeling like I don't have a say in anything. I'm going to get tired of feeling like my opinion isn't valued. I'm going to get tired of feeling like I can't make any decisions for a life that I'm living with you. And these are all things that he's teaching these so-called high-value men. So that's...
It sounds oppressive. It sounds very oppressive.
All right. All right. So here's something that a lot of people are failing to take into account, right? So this whole idea of the women, because this basically the concept is rooted in the woman should be financially taken care of, and that's her payoff from being with this man. Now, this is also something that is it is what is in the Jewish mostly community, where the women stay home and take care of the babies and the men work. They manage a household, and you can go to any one of these communities, see a bunch of women staying home during the daytime. So wherever this thing comes from, it is a bunch of trying to assimilate things from other people's culture into ours, whether to improve or whether the reasoning behind it is. And the danger that these things implies to me is that we end up having discussions like this because people feel some type of way about how this is being relayed and the implication and what. And honestly, when you're over a certain age, whatever you do or you allow somebody to influence you to do, again, like I said, it turns to the children. And when I see, like, and I'm all over the place a little bit, but when I see, for example, how we have this debate last week about, fathers in the home or fathers not in the home, and all of this misogyny and feminism and all of that. When you look at the root of all these things, you have in the Jewish community a prayer. At the end of the prayer, it says, "Thank you, God, for not making me a woman." You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine what if these people are praying and they have women in these prayer? We were down there when not one of these things happened. And if you have women in these rooms, you imagine grandma, daughter, granddaughter, born in this society, and every Saturday or Friday evening when they're done, thank you, God, out the house for not making me a woman. And then we have these problems. We have to look at where these things come from. Why would we start to think about these kind of things? Because the last time I checked, I went to a lot of people's homes and I've never seen any of these kind of things. So I don't know. I'm like, where these dudes, what is his background? Did he have his daddy in his home, or did he have his mother? Was his mother a decent woman? Because these things, you don't just get up. Even if you see a niche where you can make some money, you don't just get up and like attack your own people in the guise of, I don't even know what it is. You'll create an elite, whatever. I don't get it.
1 second.
Well,
okay, I want to jump back into the comments because we're getting some feedback here on what we're talking about. Okay, so Driscoll, well, let me backtrack because they left quite a few comments. So Jasmine said, culture has shaped many of our fatherless men's ideas of what it is to be a man. It's good to have other men to give tips on things. Culture meaning TV, music, media, etc. So I guess she was talking about when we were discussing the children being influenced by the rap music and all that. But then Driscoll goes on to ask this question, and I believe he was probably talking to Michael. He said, "What are you talking about? Who said it was an excuse? The simple point is that men without fathers look elsewhere for an example of a man. This is basic science. It's really not an option. You clearly see the influence all throughout the inner cities if you deal with the youth. I blame the absent fathers. The videos were just there to do what it's doing. Point is the skills are not common sense to everybody. I'm saying this from experience as an inner city outreach coordinator." So I guess what he's saying is that it's really not an excuse to say that if the father isn't there, that it is going to have an impact on the young men or the children in general, I guess he's saying, which I don't totally disagree with that. I honestly feel that the fathers
No,
are
I
definitely
mean,
needed and useful.
of course, fathers without fathers, they, but again, like I said, influence is something that you can, I'm not gonna back up because, like I said, I was the one that nobody wanted. And if I am able to be where I'm at right now and have full control under influence and make a decision by myself, anybody else can do it. Now, the circumstances under where they find themselves are sad, and it is fucked up that fathers are out of the home and all of that kind of shit. But at the end of the day, we're all responsible for in I was running circles around grown-ups at the age of 7. If you have a brain, 2 hands, 2 feet, you know what you like and what you don't like. You understand what I'm saying? It's consequences of our decisions. And us who are here, who help to facilitate, we might not be fathers of these children, but what are you doing? You understand what I'm saying? You can say, oh, the fathers are in the home, but if one, two, three, one person can be responsible for a whole group of young men. It's a community thing. So
Right.
we can blame the fathers because they are sperm donors. What that's what they are. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? What is the solution?
I can totally understand that. But getting back in the comments really quickly, Briscoe says what he teaches the men is to care about beauty, how fun the woman is to be around, and her ability to provide peace. Do any of you think that that is the only thing that, I guess I'll ask Michael this because he's the only man on the panel.
What was the question?
No, Driscoll made a statement. He said that what this Kevin Samuels guy teaches the men is to care about the beauty of the woman, how fun she is to be around, and her ability to provide peace. Those are the things he's teaching the men to look for in the women.
I cannot comment and Kevin Gates because I don't know. I've never looked at his page.
No, not about him. Just the fundamentals of what it
So,
is. How do you agree
yeah,
with that? Do you agree?
yeah. I mean, that's what we do. Objectify women. That's rampant in the culture, and it's all about surface shallowness. That's what it's about. That's why I give it no time of day to look at it as a man. You know, so I'm saying, but as women, I would hope the women that look at this shit come away with like, yo, any man that mentioned hi, I'm not even waiting to see if he say value.
No, I don't. I think, what did he say? He said Kevin
Right.
Samuels
He teaches the
teaches.
men to care about the beauty of the woman.
So men need Kevin Samuels to care about the beauty of a woman. And what else?
How fun they are, or how fun they are to be around, and their ability to provide peace.
Provide peace. You need a man supposed to be the peacemaker. You need a woman to provide peace. What the hell?
I mean, this is the thing. These are the fundamentals that he's saying the women need to have in order to, to get along with
That's
men.
what I'm saying. I might take a look into this guy because, like, seriously, who was his daddy? Like, how who how would you like, first of all, to like consider, when we were young back in the day, you see girls and you like a girl and you and your friends sit down and you say, boy, you're not on the lyrics. You understand? We have to like come up with, how are you going to approach it? You're going to say it like this and being admiring you from all kind of ways to woo a woman. You see, so you walk with her to the bus stop and you talk to her, that kind of stuff. Then these days, we were at an event, and there was a dude was trying to talk to Ayana's cousin, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, um, when I talk to my hoe," and she's like, "Excuse me," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, my broad," and she's like, "What? He did not have a positive word to describe a woman. It's either my hoe, my broad, my trick, my." I was like, "What the fuck?" I don't go outside, so I don't know. Like, this is how. So if a young man in his 20s do not know, late 20s, do not know how even to appropriately address a woman in conversation, we are fucked. We got a lot of fucking work to do. So this Kevin, whatever his name is, he's the least of the problem. You know what I'm saying? So he's just one that have a mouthpiece that is more, I don't know, detrimental to the people who, because what the problem with him is, the people who can actually do something good for the community, they're the ones, because they're the ones who are more affluent. So they're the ones who are being distracted by paying attention, because you want to be in an elite group and then you go over there and you off doing some weird shit where you could be actually networking with people in the community and doing some good. So that's why people like those don't need to have a mouthpiece.
And I
Well,
was gonna,
I'm
that,
sorry. Go ahead, Ian.
that comment he just made about the people in the community who can actually do some good, not that they would have interest for a collective type of way of thinking. It would only be from a financial aspect that they could provide, because I don't know how someone with that mindset could actually do something good for a large group of people. I don't know that that's what they care about.
No. I'm not gonna say that, because you do have a lot of decent people who are looking for an affluent man. You got some people who come through the struggle like me, who like, yo, I come through this shit and I'm not going to go with nobody who potentially can take this shit from me. So you have those people, and those people who go through the struggle, but they control how they give back to the community and they can separate the two. So I wouldn't go out there and say that because you're misguided, you are all the way doomed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, 1 second, guys. I'm going to jump back into the comments real quick. Driscoll says society has taught women they can have whatever they want, and the statistics prove that it's obviously not true, or they wouldn't be calling in to Kevin Samuel's show. Sal Johnson says only a guy that has trouble getting women would have that type of mentality. Any woman is attainable regardless of your income level. Okay, Jasmine says she doesn't agree with, she says, yeah, I don't agree what he says is a high value man, but he's speaking about the things that women want. This is what women are calling high value. These are the things women are calling in to ask him about. He's telling them to get real and look for a man, not a high value man, because she wouldn't attract a high value man anyway. He is teaching women to not be delusional and end up lonely and old, waiting on a 6-figure man that's not coming because they aren't even attracted to women like them. He's getting people married. I don't know if I can, if I agree with him with that he's getting people married.
Travis said the same thing. Remember remember when Travis was on?
Mm-hmm.
So there is somewhere in one of these videos, I mean, people believe this, you know?
Well, the
I mean,
reason,
it must be some way. This is the second, actually, I think this is the third person since we've been doing this I've heard actually say that.
well, this is my problem with that. It's one-sided. It's one-sided because when he has the women that call his show that's at a certain income level, he starts talking down to them and telling them not to be so picky. And if you want this, you need to come down here and meet the man here. But on the reverse of that, he's telling the women, if you don't have this, this, and that, then just forget about it. It's not going to happen. So it's like I said, it's a one-sided thing. And I think that he does that because his whole thing is to disparage women and Black women in particular, to make them feel like you're not worthy of this. And I can back that up because when I go into the comment sections of these videos, I see a lot of Black men in there saying the same thing. Black women are masculine. Black women are mean. Black women are aggressive. This, that, and the third. So if this is the conversation,
if any man, hold on there. Let me say this, because Black women, first and foremost, any man who find a woman intimidating, a pussy. And I'm sorry, Shirley, y'all cough me off guard with the show, but certain things just, how can a man be finding a woman intimidating? Like, I mean, yes, you're some woman that you have to like, yo, hold on a second,
not,
I have to approach you differently, but intimidating.
Yes.
This is what's being said. This is what's being said. And that's why I say we have to pick this stuff apart and just, you know, let it be known that this stuff doesn't really have a place in our community because this does not bring solutions. What it does is it starts a lot of nitpicking and going back and forth and, oh no, well the men do this and the women do that. It's not people trying to come together to say, okay, this is where we are as Black men and Black women. What can we do to begin to solve our problems? It's always, well, right now, I mean, to be honest, we do want to get married. We do want to have families. But if we have talking heads like this Kevin Samuels person, where I see him being a lot harder on Black women than he is on Black men, I have to tell the truth about that. A lot of his shows are geared toward telling Black women, you're not this and you're not that. And if you're going to be this way, no one's going to want you. And that's just not the case because all men don't want the same thing. That's first. So, you know, like I said, it's like he's leading us into the middle of nowhere. These conversations that I'm seeing a lot of Black men having are leading us into the middle of nowhere because it's like what they're doing is they're tearing down their counterpart and they're trying to make their case for why they need to go into these other communities and start families with other groups of women. That's where it ultimately ends up leading. Because a lot of these men...
Over there, I was over there. I have 2 half-white kids. Go over there. You find out real fast what's over on that
Wait a minute. You just opened a can of worms.
Worms?
You just opened a can of worms, Michael.
Worms. Okay. Can of worms.
We don't, Shelly, it's 6 o'clock.
Oh.
It's not enough time in the day.
We can jump right into that.
That's a whole new show, Shelly.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a whole new show because I just learned something new. I don't know what it's like on the other side, but I would be very interested in finding out. Okay. With the last couple of minutes, I do want to get into what you all feel would be solutions to combat this rhetoric. And but first, I'm going to read the last few comments. Driscoll had a lot to add.
Oh, why did we get Driscoll on here?
Driscoll was actually on here last week, I believe. Yes.
Driscoll, I remember. Okay, yes, I remember now.
Okay, so he says he is teaching that men care about those things. He's telling women the truth. And he said that we're reading it all wrong. He is explaining to women that this is what men look for in a woman. He asked you, Michael, what made you like a girl?
What make me like a girl?
Uh-huh.
First and foremost, physical attraction. That's the first thing that get you to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then find some kind of common ground, something that both interest you. And then you take it from there through conversation, see where you can go. For me, I don't come with no preconditions, no anything. It's all about the person I'm interested in, and we just talk and see how it goes. Because you can be physically attracted to somebody, and you think that because of how we were pre-conditioned, you might think physical attraction, that's what you're there for. But through conversation, you'll find out what your meeting with that person is, and that's how it goes. I've never had like a hookup. It's always just a conversation. I've never met anybody significant when I go out there to go look for them. I just have conversation, and it went from that to phone calls and babies. And I'm 14 years.
Well, Driscoll says that he agrees with this woman named Sarah. I think I watched her video. She
I
said
didn't.
he
What's
said
her name?
her name is Sarah.
Okay.
There's no last name here, but I think I remember watching her video on Driscoll's.
I'd like, can
Maybe.
Driscoll share the link to who
Maybe.
she is? I want to see that.
Driscoll, if you can, please, in the comment section, share the link. He says he agrees with Sarah. Men don't have issues getting women. Women are having problems keeping men. I'm sure you see this in your reality, in your community, if we're going to be honest with ourselves. I think that kind of contradicts one of the points that you made, Driscoll, because I believe that you were the one that shared that statistic that said women are the ones that initiate divorces more than men. So I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I seen that statistic as well that women are the majority initiators of divorce. So I'm not really sure if that's entirely
Like
true.
I said, here is a testament. One Tuesday, laying crossway to bed, facing north south, facing south, calm and collectively. I have been married. I've been in a relationship since high school, and then after that, I got into another one. I never know what it's like to be not in a relationship, so I want a divorce, and I'm gonna live here, and you need to figure out how you're gonna pay for it, and that was that. And I'm like, okay.
But it was still, but that's what he said women initiate the divorce
Yeah,
more.
so I can tell you that if this was one day, this is a completely peace and safety, and then all hell break loose. And there was issues, regular, everyday issues, a relationship, but to just get up and hear that. So imagine a guy who's looking at a girl, plus a guy who's talking at a girl, or some guy. So there's a whole list of reasons, but yes, most men, when they get into a relationship, they find a woman that they, first of all, once they pass the sex stage, then they go into the can I tolerate her annoying stage. And once we get to that part and we say, okay, we can tolerate this shit because I know it's going to be sitting on the sofa complaining about shit. Can you put up with that? Yes, I'm good. And she's the one who get tired of coming down the stairs, having to step over his ass and be like, you know what, this shit is too much. I want a divorce. Guys, already when we choose to live with a woman, we make the decision that we're in there for the long haul. Women are the ones who are nervous around. He started talking about who's the one like he started talking about marriage, so I run. Like what? Why you think a dude would entertain a marriage? This is something when I first came here and I did not know there was protocols. I lose out on girls because they give me their number in a couple hours from they giving me their number. I call them. They're like, yo, you call me too soon. What? What?
Shelly, there's like 3 new shows in this
Yes.
last
Oh
10
my God.
minutes.
Y'all giving me material right off the
There
bat.
are like 3 new shows. I need you to write
It's
these things
crazy.
down.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we need to take Driscoll's comments and we need to,
And incorporate them.
we still owe Driscoll an answer from last week
Yes.
about
Driscoll,
marriage. That still needs to
Driscoll
be addressed.
kept asking. Nobody answered the question.
Well,
He
I
said
don't
we
think.
never,
I'm gonna keep on asking that one question, Driscoll. Why?
he
I'm just
said, but we still didn't answer that from
Yeah.
last week about why was 70, was, I believe the statistic was 74% of people were married. I forgot prior to what year. Was it 1970s, 60s? Was that what it was?
Yeah. You talking about the Moynihan?
Say that again.
Which one are you talking about?
When Driscoll stated why marriage, there were more of us married, more Black people married in, I believe, the 70s and 60s versus now today. Why have they changed and what changed that? That's what he asked, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah,
something
so-
about men in it was about the traditional family,
Right.
the traditional family then and now, and the numbers and why numbers change.
Right.
And but I remember the question, and it wasn't answered. That I was waiting to.
Well, I did give somewhat of an answer on that, but me and Driscoll, we have a lot of back and forth on Facebook. But I'm gonna read the other comments real quick.
Okay.
Driscoll says every Black woman calling the show shades Black men under the top 10% income every time. They act like there are no Black men. This is what he's fixing. The women think they are too good for the men. He brings them back to reality. I don't really have too much to add to that.
I kind of do. I kind of do. And, it's good that you say that because I came here in the 90s, and shortly after, there was this: if you have a felony, you're no good. If you are a scrubs, no scrubs. So there was a time when there's a whole bunch of people getting pulled over in New York because in private vehicles, you cannot have somebody sitting on the back seat if you're a taxi. So they frowned upon that. So you're driving in the back seat of a car because you don't want to be a scrub. You're getting pulled over for running illegal taxi. It was weird. Strong Black women waiting to exhale. The color purple. All of these things help to condition women as to what Black men are the ideal mate is. Now, these are the women that are in my age that have daughters and sons that are in their high 20s to teens and are having these problems. So, like I said, the only way we can fix this is attacking the children, because you can't change that mindset. It's too far gone. And you can look, like I said, it was a direct result of pop culture during the early Destiny's Childs, Aaliyah, all of them, R. Kelly, all of them early days. We are the result of that. And we're the ones having our problems. No, we are the ones who grew up with no having relationship problems, and our children grew up watching that kind of shit, and now they're having issues where some of them are successful, but they're now looking because they had no role model, mother or father. And that's the thing, that we tend to talk about mothers in the homes. My sons, after divorce, I have every summer, I make sure that whatever I'm doing 8 weeks out of the month, out of the year, when they're off from school, I don't work. Grab whatever one is here with me, shoot on the highway every summer. And I told my son, I said, your mother think it's a win for her for you guys living in the house with her, but I actually spend more valuable time with you guys because when I'm with you all the time. You know what I'm saying? So even though mothers have children, they substitute their job and the daddy job. I just made example of our child going through the thing for a little while when we first moved here, and she started speaking like Spanish people. So
Well, I
that's
want
how.
Professor D says looking for a partner needs to be told from someone who can lead by example. Both men and women are the problem. We both think we have the answer to the opposite sex. We don't listen to each other and meet in the middle to unpack and meet in the middle. He says it's too much to unpack in such a short time. Yes, it is. It really is, and I really do wish we had more time because there's a lot of good points being made. Driscoll
But we
said,
are here, which segue into um, me getting fired. So let me just put in
Wait,
hence urban country films. I don't know. I just supposed to say that or something.
"Oh my God!" So 80, he says 80% of blacks were married in 1960s. Today is only
there,
29%. He said, Driscoll says, Michael, you just vindicated Kevin Samuels.
Hey, if that's the case, then we're just sticking to the facts. So if that's what this dude is saying, then hey, it's true. Sorry.
I think that
we just need a healthier way, Shelley.
Oh,
And
sorry about
Marco
feelings.
and Professor D, everybody's there. Well, it's not that it's all about feelings, but we need a healthier way to get these points across. I mean, I just we just need a healthier way to get these points across and to join people. I'm all for us creating families and continuing families. I'm all for that. That will make a strong people working collectively and having high morals. Yes. That's our though that's the result of a great African culture and of the great dynasties and civilizations in the past in the African cultures. So yeah, we do need, it's just how we get there. I guess I disagree with his how. I don't
um I disagree with him, period, because when you're going to only show one half how to get it right and you make it seem, the problem I have with him is that he makes it seem that all of the ills of the community are on the black women when that's
and
simply just not the
that
case.
that's why I was telling you the Moynihan report that was written in 1965 does the same exact thing. If you go and you read it, that is what that speaks of. It speaks of the black woman and blames the black woman. That's
I,
what
I believe, honestly, I believe because I take everything I see on social media with a grain of salt. And if you're making money off of something, I believe that whether your whatever motives are good or bad, you're making money. And I believe that this guy saw a niche and he's capitalized on it. And he has the clause of using legitimate statistic to back up his amoral thing that he's doing. He's doing a disservice to our community. He sees that there is a lack based on the things that I just said, but he's capitalizing on it at the same time, not doing anything to fix it. I mean, everybody should know what they want out of a relationship, but sometimes we are easily influenced when we have a problem and somebody seeming like they have the solution. We're just gonna, and because we have a platform and we just like, I don't know what it is with us and celebrities. Once somebody become, you could be a idiot, you become money, all of a sudden somebody like Paris Hilton or one of them person have something to say that you want to listen to. It's crazy.
Right. I think a lot of this, like I said before, is a segue into black men leaving black women behind and moving on to other communities of women. And like I said, the reason that I say that is because when I go into these comment sections and I see what a lot of his followers are saying, not just him, but people like the Manosphere and Save Yourselves, Black Men. When I go into the comment sections of these different platforms, a lot of the men have the same sentiments that black women are just not agreeable. And they're going to eventually have to end up moving on to other groups of women because black women are destroying the black community. And I just feel like that's the wrong message. I feel like the reason why we're having this problem is because we're trying to crowbar other people's cultures and ways of living into our community. And that just doesn't always work for us. So that's one of the biggest issues I have with people like him and their messages.
Right.
And it also it like I said, it tells men, like, if you want something, nobody comes, especially now in this diverse world that we're living in. If you want a relationship with somebody, especially if you have children, like I said, when we get into conflict with people, that person, once you get heated and upset, that person becomes the enemy. You know what I'm saying? It no ways, even if it's just by words, that person is the enemy. You see, if when you and your mate or your spouse get into an argument and the child become annoying and you use that same anger towards the child, you have a problem. You know what I'm saying? And this is where it is, because we make decisions out of anger. And sometimes the decisions negatively affect the leaders of tomorrow, the teachers of tomorrow. And those, once we made babies, what we're about, how we think, all of them things is done. Our job, number one job, is to make sure that person don't make the same mistakes we make. And it's better to find common ground, to come to understanding and work in the best way through honesty. That's the other thing. A lot of us send our representative to meet somebody and never tell that fucker, hey, when you meet that person, come right back. They just stay over there and a whole lifetime of relationship talking to the representative, and then you're screwed. So,
but that's, again, Shelly, that's a whole new show. No, I'm serious. It is, because like he said, people sending their representative. You want your best attributes to come forward as you meet someone, do you not? Anything that's not obvious, you want to, bring about your best attributes. So that's basically what we do. No one's going to come out and say, oh, I'm amazing in all these ways. Oh yeah, but I really suck over here, 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 and here. Who's going to do that? No one.
Exactly.
Which in turn was why people need to take dating experiences seriously and get to know people in multiple situations so they can decide if this is someone they want to move forward with. And we can also do a service to ourselves by being truthful about what we're looking for and what we want, and then we'll be able to choose partners a little bit better.
Right. I want to I'm sorry.
Basing relationships off of just romance, because that gets you in trouble, correct? And I think that's also something in our society that's a problem. It's just romance, it's not going to work. Romantical, just all of that is no. So
I want to address Driscoll's comment for a minute. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to each and every comment, but I before I give you and Michael the floor to say what you think, just in the short term, would be the best way to handle this issue, and kind of what you would like to see happen in our community to mend relationships between Black men and Black women. I want to address this comment. Driscoll says, it's personal for Shelly. He actually started his channel only talking to men. He just realized after a while the women were the ones not accepting to the everyday black men. They all wanted the cream of the crop, regardless of who they were. It's unfortunate. I mean, I guess I will say that there is a segment of women who fall into that category.
There is.
Where they're just living on an island all by themselves, and they want things that are unattainable for them. And you know, that's something that they're gonna have to do the inner work on, because
Yeah, I know some of those women.
yeah, they're gonna have to do the inner work. But all in all, I don't think that's the majority of black women. I don't. I know that's not the majority of black women. But when you
Right.
have people putting that message out there, it paints an unfair picture about black women, that we're all
Yes.
these negative things that our men are getting up on social media, which is the new media and the way that people communicate. Getting up on
Yes.
these platforms and saying all these disparaging things about the women of their community. So it's definitely personal for me, because I know that it's not
You see,
telling the
yeah,
whole
them
story. I know it's
them
untrue.
things, that's what I'm saying. Them things, for example, if a man go on social media, just being a man, going on some social media and complaining about stuff is one thing. Complaining about a woman and how they are or whatever is gonna be personal.
One of my Facebook friends complained about International Women's Day.
Huh?
They said, did we celebrate International Men's Day like we celebrate International Women's Day?
Huh?
I was like, what? I mean, they do it, but they do it. I mean,
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but for the last 5 minutes, I'm gonna give you and Driscoll the floor to say what it is that you feel would be the solution. I know we can't come up with the end all be all solution on one show, but what is it that you all feel would be the solution to curbing a lot of this that we're seeing going on right now? Because like I said, the followings of these types of people are getting larger and larger. So I do feel like we need to interject and come up with solutions to kind of talk this stuff down.
Bring it, bring it.
I'll start with you, Ayana.
well, what I can say is, I guess I'm a little conflicted, because there is the part of me, like you said, that is, I'm not concerned because that's a small group of people. But then there's the part of me that says we should redefine this. Well, I don't even know if it's redefined, this whole high value man concept and high value woman concept. I feel like we should redefine it, because he defined it. He had these very specific, shallow ways he defined it. So how can we redefine? And do we need to redefine? Maybe we just make up a new concept. You know, let's make up a new concept of what it means to be a person who can stay and maintain a relationship, not just start one, not just get a man or get a woman. How do you maintain a relationship? A relationship is more than romantical gestures. Their romantical relationships are this. I mean, a real relationship is this. Love is not enough. There are so many things that we could be sharing with people, that us who have been in relationships for a very long time, that could be of value. So maybe it needs to be redefined.
I agree with that. I
It
totally
needs
agree.
to be redefined. What are we looking for? Are we looking for, as women, do we want a man that's going to bring us flowers? I have a friend that, and I shouldn't say friend, because she is not my friend. It is an associate who, and mind you, she is not Black. So I need to get all those things out before we even talk about this person. Will not date someone. The first thing she tells a man when she meets them is that if you can't give me flowers on this date, this date, this date, and this date. We can't move forward. Now, okay, I appreciate her honesty, but at the same time, that kind of puts pressure on something that could be
Oh, hell no. For player, for player, for a player, hold on a second. For a player, this is what I'm talking about with the divide with women and men. You come to me as a dude and say, hey, here are the things that you need to do. I just amplify that shit and get away with everything I want to do
No,
that
but
you don't want me to
what
do.
I'm talking about is for
I'm
people,
sorry.
you know, we're talking about maintaining real relationships and how that, what does that look like?
Oh,
and
I
how
was paying
it's
attention
done,
to Nev. I'm sorry.
and how it's done, right? We got to come up with real reasons of how that, who are the people that have a positive influence, are where are the couples that have a great relationship and can honestly say, this is how we maintain, this is how we make it work. Where are they? Where are they? Do we ever talk about them? Do we ever discuss them? You know what I'm saying? That's where we kind of need to be, how, you know, to make things work. We're looking at the wrong things when it comes to relationships.
I can agree with that. Before you,
But
1 second, Michael,
again,
before you give your closing statements, Driscoll, he says he agrees with you a little bit, Ayana. He thinks that everyone needs to stop the tunnel vision, locking on high value men and the high value men in their communities around them and vice versa. So he's basically saying that he feels like we need to stop concentrating so much on the high value man concept, the definition, and kind of pay more attention to the men in our communities.
Yeah.
all right. So I want to ask a question.
No, you're supposed to give your final thoughts. It's
Yeah.
6:30.
So my final stuff. The thing is, how is it that people in poor situation, you go to some remote village, and people there are having awesome relationship, and that shit is working fine on a half or whatever they have. But when the higher the financial level, it seems like it's complicated. People should just go back to stop making things that come natural so damn difficult. When I come here or came here, some people, they put time limit on the time when you're supposed to make babies, and you're supposed to have a house by this time, and you put so much pressure on yourself. You make education a thing, and it just gets so confusing that at the end of the day, you get so exhausted that the thing that you supposed to come natural, you become kind of like antisocial, and so you want easy. And because you want easy, you find the easiest way is the financial way. So we're gonna go down this road. We have to go back to the days when people truly date somebody, ask somebody, knock at your door and say, can I talk to your daughter? And stuff like that. We don't do that no more. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, virtually, we're going to have to do it because if somebody come knock on my door, but I'm just saying, we don't have like relationships where people can naturally and genuinely meet people. You want to go you move from Texas and you want to go meet somebody in Florida. There's a lot of culture things that need to be changed. So we have to start building like the network of what we want, because we can manifest what we want. We just distracted with so much noise, and we put price tag on everything. And because we do that, it distort everything else. So, you know.
Well, listen, thank you very much to you and Ayana for coming up here having this conversation with me. And I do feel like, it opens the door for us to be able to bring solutions to these problems, because at the end of the day, you just said something that really resonated with me. It's the westernized culture that is really impacting us within our community. and people like myself, that this is the only culture that I've ever experienced, I really need to start pulling back the layers and seeing what my nature is as an African woman.
Yes.
So again, thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you for all the comments. I gotta get out of here. We have Bree and Nye coming up next with Cypher Sundays. So catch them at 7. I'll see everyone next week, same time, same place. Thank you for tuning in, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.